Hey guys, how are you? So to make your work easier, I erased, I jumped from page 47 to page 52. Okay, and here. Remember that you should be taking your own notes. I'm gonna read a couple of the pages for you, and then you're gonna do the rest. Um, it's almost exam time, so as I told you before, part of your exam is that I'm gonna give you a chapter that you're gonna have to analyze by yourself, and you're gonna have to find the important facts, a certain number of the important facts. Remember that we're taking one important fact for every page that we read, something that tells us specifically what we are talking about. And after that, you're gonna have to turn those important facts into a summary. But I don't want you to copy the important facts in from one paper to another. You have to put the ideas together like a story, okay? I'll send you an example next, probably Monday, so you can know what am I talking about, so you can start working on that. So today, we're gonna write the date in your notebook. Today is Thursday, December the 3rd. It's Christmas. Today is Thursday, December the 3rd, 2020, and we are going to start reading from page 52. I jumped in because what I was reading, it wasn't very relevant, and I need you. And they were also talking of a lot of references of old video games and music and stuff, and I didn't want to confuse you. So at the end, they were just talking about the video games and stuff, and two of them were fighting because they don't like each other, and we move on. What I want us to read is what happens with this character. Know the characters. Obviously, all the books have secondary characters that play a part in the story, but are not really important. So we're gonna move on. So we're gonna go to page 52, chapter 4. Let's do it. My avatar's eyes slid open, and I was back in my world history classroom. So remember he was in waiting for his class yesterday. Well, today is in his class. The seats around me were now filled with other students, and a teacher, Mr. Avenovic, was materializing at the front of the classroom. Mr. A's avatar looked like a portly, bearded college professor. He sported an infectious grin, wide-rimmed spectacles, and a tweed jacket, with patches on the elbows. When he spoke, he somehow always managed to sound like he was reading a passage from Dickens. I liked him. He was a good teacher. He was a chubby teacher. Of course, we didn't know who Mr. Avenovic really was or where he lived. We didn't know his real name, and even if he was a real man. For all we knew, he could have been a small Inuit woman living in Anchorage, Alaska, who had adopted this appearance and voice to make her students more receptive to her lessons. If I could do that, I would do it. If I could be a different teacher online, I would be a fat man with a big beard and a voice like this. Yeah, I would be a completely different person if I could change it. Yeah, but for some reason I suspected that Mr. Avenovic's avatar looked and sounded just like the person operating it. All of my teachers were pretty great. Unlike their real-world counterparts, most of the Oasis public school teachers seemed to genuinely enjoy their job, probably because they didn't have to spend half their time acting as babysitters or as disciplinarians. The Oasis software took care of that, ensuring that the students remained quiet in their seats. I would love that. All the teachers had to do was teach. That would be amazing. Not a nanny, not informing all the parents all the time, and a nurse in school, and a referee trying to separate you from fighting. Only teaching would be amazing. It was also a lot easier for online teachers to hold their students' attention because here in the Oasis, the classrooms were like holodecks. Teachers could take the students on a virtual field trip every day without ever leaving the school grounds. That would be amazing. Can you imagine if we could go to Planet Liquidambar School and everybody in there virtually with goggles and with earphones, and I would say, okay guys, so today we're going to explore the world of Ready Player One. So over there you see the Oasis, and over here we can see Parzival. Parzival, say hi to the students, because everything would be virtual. Everything would be like a road trip every day on our imagination online. During the world history lesson that morning, Mr. Avenovic loaded up a standalone simulation that our class could witness the discovery of King Tut's tomb by archaeologists in Egypt AD 1922. The day before, we visited the same spot in 1334 before Christ had seen Tutankhamun's empire in all its glory. This is really interesting. I would love to go to these history classes because they go to the simulation places. So they went to Egypt and they were looking at the pyramid. It would be like going in a field trip all the time. I would love it because when we're talking about New York, I would be like, okay guys, today we're gonna talk about New York. Everybody put on your goggles and your earphones. We're moving to New York, and virtually we would go places. That would be so cool. So from page 52, okay, how many classworks? One. The important fact will be that Mr. Avenovic, his Verdet teacher, was his one of his favorite teachers, his history teacher. And the advantage of the Oasis is that they could go places online and explore the world online, going into field trips. And they recently went to Egypt to watch on the Tutankhamun's tomb. So you can also write in there, what place would you go? For an example, if I could go somewhere, I would go to Brazil. That's my dream. So virtually, I would go to Brazil, to the beach and stuff. So you should write in there that the Oasis makes the classes very interesting because it lets you go places inside the Oasis, and that's why it's important that the Oasis is free, because that's the way that Halliday had to make the Oasis a beautiful, free place. That's from page 52. Let's go to page 53. In my next class, biology, we travel through a human heart and watch it pumping from the inside, just like in that old movie, Fantastic Voyage. So can you imagine if I'm like, okay guys, so in science today, we're going to study the hearts. Let's go. Put on your goggles and simulation on. And we could be inside of a heart, kind of like in Chiminique when we were inside of when you get inside of a nose. And you see the heart pumping, and the teacher is like, so that over there is the aorta vein, which pumps the heart to your body. And that over there is all the blood that pumps. And you would be exploring inside, and it would be an amazing experience. In our class, we toured the Louvre, that's a museum in France, while all our avatars were silly berets. In my astronomy class, we visited each of Jupiter's moons. So amazing. You imagine like, okay, in astronomy, put on your goggles, we're going to Jupiter. You would be in Jupiter. We stood on the volcanic surface of Io while our teacher explained how the moon had originally formed. As the teacher spoke to us, Jupiter loomed behind her, filling half the sky, its great red spot churning slowly just over her left shoulder. Then she snapped her fingers and we were standing on Europa, that's a moon, discussing the possibility of extraterrestrial life beneath the moon's icy crust. Can you imagine when we're talking about life out of the planet? Like, okay, so see that planet over there? Maybe there's life in that planet. I spent my lunch period sitting in one of the green fields bordering the school, staring at the simulated scenery while I munch on a protein bar with my visor on. I beat staring at the inside of my hideout. I was senior, so I was allowed to go off-world during lunch if I wanted to, but I didn't have that kind of a spare, though, to blow. So, we're going to write in here, we're going to write along from page 53. So we're going to write page 53. We can write in there. Wade went different places in his classes because he was in online simulations. So he went to Jupiter, Europa, the moon. He went inside a heart, and yeah. Oh, and he went into a top of a volcano because in the Oasis, all the classes were simulation systems. That would be so awesome. I'm so glad we jumped into this part. And in the recess, he was seated in the grass because he was a senior, he was in 7th grade. He could go to another planet if he had the money to teleport, but he didn't have it. Oh, well, 7th grade? I don't know. No, senior means that he was older. I don't think that he was, oh, he was in 11th grade. Okay, good to know. Okay, so that was for page 53. Logging into the Oasis was free, but traveling around inside it wasn't. Most of the time, I didn't have enough credits to teleport off world and get back to Ludus. When the last bell rang each day, two students who had things to do in the real world would log out of the Oasis and vanish. Everyone else would head off world. A lot of kids owned their own interplanetary vehicles. School parking lots all over Ludus were filled with UFOs, TEI, fighters, old NASA space shuttles, Vipers from Battlestar Galactica, and other spacecraft designs lifted from every sci-fi movie and TV show you can think of. Every afternoon, I would stand in the school's front lawn and watch with envy as these ships filled the sky, zooming off to explore the simulation's endless possibilities. The kids who didn't own ships would either hitch a ride with a friend or stampede to the nearest transport terminal, headed for some off-world dance club, gaming arena, or rock concert. But not me. I wasn't going anywhere. I was stranded on Ludus, the most boring planet in the entire Oasis. The ontologically anthropocentric sensory immersive simulation was a big place. Oasis. Oh, that's the meaning of oasis. Ontologically anthropocentric sensory immersive simulation. Amazing question for exam. When the Oasis had first been launched, it contained only a few hundred planets for users to explore, all created by GSS programmers and artists. The environments run the gamut from sword and sorcery, settings to cyberpunk-themed planet-wide cities to eradicated post-apocalyptic zombie-infested wastelands. Some planets were designed with painstaking detail. Okay, stop there. So again, from page 53, so we have so far 3. 1, 2, and 3. So from page 53, we are going to write, after school, kids were allowed to go off-world, and a lot of them had space transport to go places. Space shuttles, space rockets. I'm pretty sure that if I would choose, I would have wings and I would fly places. And UFOs, which is the kind of like the alien ships that people think that they are like a kind of like a plane. And they would go places, dance clubs, game arenas, where age fights, and places. But because Wade was poor, he couldn't go anywhere. He was too poor to pay for the transport first, and then for the fee, for the money you have to pay to teletransport places. So it was very unfortunate for him, because he would see people going places and he would be jealous because he couldn't go places. And also, we can write in 53, the Oasis is called ontologically anthropocentric sensory immersive simulation, Oasis. So you know the name of the Oasis. So in the exam, when I ask you, you will know which page to find it, page 53. Okay. So we move to page 54. And we're being described with the looks of the planet. So far we have 3 important facts. But let's go to page 54. Page 53, 54. Others were randomly generated from a series of templates. Each one was populated with a variety of artificially intelligent NPC, non-player characters. So every planet had people in there, but they were not real. They were not real people. They were just like characters in there that you couldn't talk to. Computer-controlled humans, animals, monsters, aliens, and androids with which Oasis users could interact. Oh, no, they could talk. GSS also had licensed pre-existing. GSS is the people that made the planets. Also licensed pre-existing virtual worlds from their competitors. So content that had already been created for gamers like EverQuest or a World of Warcraft was ported over the Oasis. So if the Oasis existed today, there would be a planet for Free Fire, and there would be a planet for Among Us, because that's what the Oasis do. They create different planets so people can go play there. There would be a planet of, what's the name of the app book that you guys told me? I forgot, but where people write different stories and books, and I think that the app is orange. So there would be a world for every game that there would be a world for FIFA something or for Mario Kart where you could go play with them in real life. You could play, but also remember you have to pay for those. And copies of Norath and Azeroth were added to the growing catalog of Oasis planets. Other virtual worlds soon followed suit, from the metaverse to the Matrix. Oh, I like the Matrix. The Firefly universe was anchored in a sector adjacent to the Star Wars galaxy. Oh my god. Then there would be a planet of Stranger Things, with a detailed recreation of the Star Trek universe in the sector adjacent to that. Users could now teleport back and forth between their favorite fictional worlds: Middle-earth, Vulcan, Pern, Arrakis, Magritia, Discworld, Midworld, Riverworld, Ringworld, World upon Worlds. So in there you can see that there are worlds for everything, in every game and in every book and in every movie that you can imagine. For the sake of zoning and navigation, the Oasis had been dividing equally into 27 cube-shaped sectors, each containing hundreds of different planets. The three-dimensional map, all over 27 sectors, distinctly resemble an 80s puzzle toy called Rubik's Cube. Remember this? Like most Gunters, I knew this was no coincidence. Each sector measured exactly 10 light hours across, or about 10.8 billion kilometers. So if you were traveling at the speed of light, the fastest speed attainable by any spacecraft inside the Oasis, you could get from one side of a sector to the other in exactly 10 hours. That sort of long-distance traveling wasn't cheap. Spacecraft that could travel at light speed were rare, and they required fuel to operate. Charging people for virtual fuel to power their virtual spaceships was one of the ways gregarious simulation systems generated revenue. Since accessing the Oasis was free, but GSS primarily source of income came from teleportation fares, teleportation was the fastest way to travel, but it was also the most expensive. So let's stop in here. So from page 54, another fact. So far we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We're gonna write in there. The Oasis is like a very big Rubik's Cube with 27 zones or different areas. Obviously, inside every area there are planets. So you have to write in there. From page 54, the Oasis is like a ginormous Rubik's Cube with 27 different areas in there. So it would be constantly be moving if you could see it from afar, but obviously you are inside of it. And inside of every of the 27 areas, there are different planets, different games, different worlds, different things. And it took 10 hours to travel from one area to another area. But you needed a spacecraft, a spaceship, and fuel, gasoline to move from one area to another. So gregarious system, find the name in page 54. Gregarious system charged for the gasoline, so you could put it in your spacecraft, in your ship, or in your rocket ship and go places. And that's how gregarious systems, remember, gregarious systems are the Sixers. All those guys with the 6 at the beginning of the name that are looking for Halliday's eggs, but they do it for the money. If they win, they're gonna give to gregarious system the right to own the Oasis, and then they would charge to use the Oasis because the Oasis is free. So, gregarious system is a company of people that sells gas, so the rocket ships can put gas and then they can fly around the Oasis. They sell gasoline, that's how they make the money. But also they have the Sixers, the Sixers, and remember why are called the Sixers? It's a little up higher because they are trying to find Halliday's egg to give it to the owner of gregarious system that later we are going to see. Okay, very important. This is a long important facts. So far we have very long important facts. Okay, continue on page 54. Traveling around inside the Oasis wasn't just costly, it was also dangerous. Each sector was divided up into many different zones that varied in size and shape. Some suns were so large that they encompassed several planets, while others covered only a few kilometers on the surface of a single world. Each sun had a unique combination of rules and parameters. Magic would function in some suns and not in others. The same was true of technology. If you flew your technology-based starship into a zone of technology didn't function, your engines would fail the moment you crossed the sun border. Then you have to hire some silly gray verde sorcerer with a spell powder space barge to tow your body back into a technology zone. Okay, very important. Last important fact. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 until page 54, and then you're gonna write page 55 and 56 by yourself. So last important fact from page 54, not all the zones and the planets have the same rules. So some planets work with magic and other planets work with technology. Remember, this is the important fact. So sometimes you would fly from one magic planet to one technology planet, and then it would collapse. If you, for an example, are a three-headed unicorn and you fly by magic and you go to a technology planet, then your unicorn would fall because it doesn't work by technology. So if you work by magic, you should stay in the magic area. And if you work by technology, you should stay in the technology area. Both divided, okay? Now, if you work in technology and you have, for an example, a Power Ranger or a Messenger Z, or I don't know what you watch in robots, and you go to a magical place where the unicorn lives, your robot wouldn't work because it's technology. So you should write in there that zones are not mixed. Sometimes things work with magic, sometimes with technology, but they don't mix. They work independently, okay? I hope you're understanding this. This is gonna be the last important fact for today from me. 55 and 56 is on you, so read it, and then you're gonna owe me 2 important facts, and you are going to have a total of I think that you're gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 important facts. Okay, so you're gonna have to send 7 important facts for this classwork. Remember to send them on Friday, and very soon you're gonna have to learn how to make summaries, probably Monday. So video is long enough. I'm sorry. I hope that you finish reading after this video, and it's only 2 pages, so only 2 more important facts. I hope that you enjoy. I hope that you're as excited as I am to finish this story, and I hope that you are having a lot of fun. Goodbye. Remember, cursive with a pen. Cursive with a pen. If it's not in cursive with a pen, you're losing points. Cursive with a pen. Cursive with a pen. And if you didn't do it in cursive with a pen, you have to recopy it. And remember, every classwork requires a cover that some of you haven't been doing. A cover different for every week. Don't send me the second quarter cover. A cover with your information. Liquid Ambar School, Angel Hernandez, Valle de Angeles, December 4th, reading classwork number something, and then a picture or a drawing in there. Thank you for the ones that are following instructions and watching the videos. You're gonna do amazing in the exam. Remember that we're getting close to the exam, so excited that it's almost Christmas. Goodbye, guys.